All right, so this video is a follow-up to a video I did about probably 2 months ago now on whether or not to get a cortisone shot, and to talk about how I did end up getting a cortisone shot and what led to that decision. So, and also, did it work? So the previous video, which should be linked here somewhere probably in the description, I talked about how I had a knee injury. I had some swelling. I ended up going to get my knee drained and was offered a cortisone shot, and I declined at the time, really because I was just hoping I could heal on my own. And so to follow up to that story, for about a month, I continued to have knee swelling no matter what I did, meaning that despite doing some physical therapy type exercises to try to just keep my knee strong while I had a little bit of swelling, and just staying a little bit active, which for me, my job is pretty active, right? I do have to demonstrate exercises in here. I do have to do a certain amount of getting on and off the floor. And then really for exercise, what I was doing was mostly just going for walks or riding my bike on the trainer, or just going on a bike ride just on a path. And it seemed like I could get a slight decrease in swelling, but it didn't take much for it to come back. Just a 2-mile walk would bring on more swelling to the point that I would have a hard time bending it past, 90 degrees or so, right? Like it would go there, but it would be painful, and there was a lot of pressure. So I decided that I would go back to see the physician that I was seeing and to get a cortisone shot. And so to kind of discuss that process, as I said in the last video, the more I kind of did some little bit of research on this, the more I kind of thought it basically showed that my previous thoughts, and it's great when you can have some information that helps you basically change your mind. But my previous thoughts on, avoid cortisone shots at all costs, I would say were a little off. And so I discussed that a little bit in the last video, where the research really just shows that, if you need one every now and then, you're probably going to be fine. It'd be if you were just getting 3 or 4 a year, something like that. That's really what's going to be the problem. So I went back to the physician specifically to get a cortisone shot. And I guess a couple takeaways, right? Is that I think part of getting some medical, not procedures, intervention, I guess would be a better word, is knowing the best time to get it, right? And this is where I was really relying on this physician and his experience. He's the one who gives cortisone shots on a regular basis, right? And so I had asked him actually at the previous visit when I had my knee drained about some of the, what we will call, just broadly speaking, gel shots in the knee, because that's another question I get. It's like, hey, my physician is offering this thing we're supposed to help, provide some fluid, some gel, some cushioning. I have a little bit of knee arthritis. Do you think this is a good idea? And so he and I had a good discussion on that. The right time to do that is when you're kind of in the middle. You don't want to have just a little arthritis, probably won't help you. If it's too far gone, it won't help you, but right in the middle, right? So that's kind of what I was relying on with this cortisone shot. And when I went in the previous time to have my knee drained, and when I came back for the follow-up, he basically said, this is going to help you a lot. And I took that as meaning, in his experience, where my knee was at, what he saw in the MRI and the X-ray, it's this guy is going to get a lot of benefit from this, right? So I think you always have to, when you're considering an intervention, regardless of what it is, always have that in mind, right? Do you trust the person giving you the intervention and their rationale for saying, hey, I really think this is going to help? And I find more and more healthcare providers are ready to offer that up, right? And kind of tell you, here, this is an option of something we can do, but honestly, it's going to be kind of a coin toss, based on where you're at, as to whether it's going to really help you. But I really felt like this physician was basically saying, hey, based on where you're at, this is going to help you a ton. And so that was kind of an interesting learning experience for me, and just the thought of in general as I recommend interventions to my patients or just even interventions for myself. So when I went back in, he did drain the knee. He did give me a cortisone shot. And long story short, within about 48 hours, my knee felt fantastic, right? And so all the swelling was gone. I was able to get full flexion. It was, it was one of those things where you kind of felt like 100%, right? And so that was an amazing feeling. I mean, I still felt maybe for a week just a little off, but after that, it really felt good. And so, you know, another thing that we had a discussion about is inflammation, right? When does inflammation go from being a thing that is natural for your body to have as part of the healing to where it is a negative? Mine had obviously turned into a negative. I was really being careful. I really wasn't doing much, and yet the swelling, that part of the inflammation, stayed around. And he talked about there were some studies that showed, and this is something I need to spend some time to look up, where there can be swelling in a joint where on some level they're able to pull fluid from that joint, and it shows that the positive properties of swelling are no longer there and just the negative properties. Now, as to what exactly he meant at a deep level as to what that means, I'll have to research further, but that made sense to me. So last little bit of this story is that today's date is July, It's July 21st. And I got the cortisone shot on June 2nd. I did not return to my prior level of activity, which is for me is cycling, till last week, which would have been July 14th, right? So, and what I mean by that is I started doing some of the group rides, which are a little bit more vigorous. Before that, all through June and then July, and I was on vacation a little bit in July, I was basically just going for bikes, riding my bike on like a greenway path, taking it really easy, and just doing walking. So it's another learning experience from this, and something I do preach to my patients a lot is when you have an intervention where you feel then 100%, taking your time to come back is really important, right? Not just going, it's like, oh, I'm back 100%, I'm gonna go for it and go right back to where I was. Because during that time, May 2nd is when I kind of felt the little clicking in my knee that caused some of the swelling, is when the swelling started. So really for a month, my knee and my leg was getting weaker. So even though I felt better, it wasn't the time to just go right back. So it's just another learning experience. Something I want to share with you guys is when you do feel better, really take your time and slowly coming back and make sure it's what I call your knee has baseline to the point where it is 100%, it's feeling good with everyday stuff, and then slowly build from there. That timeline is different per person and per sport that they're doing. So that's where you do seek the help of a professional to try to help you, navigate that path. So all that to say, just an update on my previous conversation about a cortisone shot is that in the end, I did end up getting a cortisone shot. I think I made a fantastic decision. I looked at this cortisone shot as kind of a one and done. It was kind of like, hey, this is my one chance to get my knee baseline, so I really need to take it easy, which I did. And last week I went on 3 rides that were more to what I used to do prior to having this knee issue, and I feel really good. So if you're someone who's watching this video and you're thinking about getting a cortisone shot, watch these 2 videos. It just goes into my thoughts about it and hopefully helps you make a good decision. And ultimately, if you're, working with a physician and, some of the questions that I would ask is just basically like, hey, based on your experience, what is the likelihood of this having the result that we want, right? And hopefully he gives you a percentage of saying like, well, based on where you're at, I think this is really going to help, or based on where you're at, 50-50, or, maybe not so much. And that to me is a big part of the decision-making process for this. So anyway, thanks for listening. If you have any questions about cortisone shots, you can ask them in the comments below, and I'll get to them when I have a chance. But I hope this provided some information for you. I hope you learned something. I look forward to talking to you again soon.